The lights and sounds of the TARDIS slowly faded back into view as the Doctor came around on the cold metal grate floor. His legs were sore, his fingers were tingling, and he had a splitting headache. But slowly and surely the old Time Lord gripped the edge of the console and heaved himself up. He made it to his knees, and had to stop as a twinge of pain filled his chest. What had happened? He couldn't remember. Oh, this headache. It made his vision blur and dim with each throb. He made it the rest of the way to his feet, wobbling under his own weight, and with a deep breath of exertion, reached around the console to the monitor. He had to find out where he was, what had happened, and he had to get something for this headache. The monitor, however, was stuck, flickering on the same screen, and as the Doctor's vision slowly focused, he gradually made out the words, "Decontamination complete," blinking in front of him. Decontamination complete? What did that mean? Well, obviously it meant he must have run the decon systems before he passed out, but he couldn't remember why. He couldn't think through this headache. His whole head was swimming in a dull but vicious pain. He could barely see straight. He checked the back of his head for any kind of injury. That's strange, he thought to himself. He could have sworn he had more hair than that. He ran his fingers through the wiry strands that covered the top of his neck. Where had the rest of it gone? Then he froze. Sore legs, tingling fingers, and a throbbing headache. That could only mean one thing. The word caught in his throat as his new vocal cords strained and vibrated with his new voice. Regenerated. I've regenerated, he finally said. Of course. That explained everything. The headache, the loss of balance, the amnesia, all the traditional hallmarks of the regeneration process. Mirror. I need a mirror. I need to see. The Doctor stumbled across the control deck to the top of the stairs. He paused for a moment. This would be difficult. Taking a hold of the railing, he planted his foot on the first step and then flung himself down the rest, too impatient to be careful. The lower deck was colder than he remembered. The fire must be out, he thought to himself as he passed his armchair and reached the wardrobe, flinging it open to reveal the full-sized mirror within. The Doctor stood there for a good 5 minutes or so, staring at this stranger gazing back at him. His hair was grey, short and wiry, with the odd strand of white or darker grey here and there. It looked like it used to be dark brown. There was a bit of colour dashed about. His face was serious and strained by time, his eyes set low and his eyebrows thin and messy. Oh, that nose, he thought to himself. It stuck right out. There was stubble all around his mouth and on his chin, not too much, but enough to notice. His old Victorian attire no longer suited him at all, he thought to himself. I must remember to get changed after I find... He stopped mid-sentence. His eyes widened as he threw himself back up the stairs and onto the control deck. He caught his foot on the odd step and really hurt his arm as he crashed clumsily into the railing, but he didn't care. He had to find them. The Doctor slowly walked back onto the console deck, his feet barely lifting from the railing as he dragged them along. Stopping in front of the console, he rested both hands on the controls and let out a shaky sigh. Through watery eyes, he glanced down at his hands. Straightening up, he opened them and looked at what lay in each. His breath shook, but not for the cold. In one hand, he clutched a small name badge. It had a picture of a book in the corner and a label which read Chiswick Library, Senior Librarian. He closed his fingers around it and held it to his lips for just a moment, before looking over to the other hand. A woven silver tiara lay in that one, studded with tiny jewels, and a few strands of golden hair hung from the clasps. He gazed at it for a while, before suddenly crouching down, pulling out a chest from beneath the TARDIS console, which he opened and placed them carefully within. He stopped for a moment, resting his hands on the lid and taking one last look. Never again, he said quietly before closing the lid.